Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I can guarantee by the time you're done watching it, you will not be running Rammer on any of your tanks. It does not matter if you are a player who is averaging 8,000 average damage or 2 average damage. What I'm going to be listing today is facts and reasoning that cannot be countered. I would love to sit down with any skilled player. It does not matter who it is. It does not matter if they are the best player in the entire world and they are the biggest advocate for Rammer. What I'm going to be listing today are facts on how gun rammer is not as good as you think it is, and why calibrated shells in 9 out of 10 situations is going to give you the flat advantage. Yes, gun rammer does give you 5% more DPM, and in a perfect world where you are aiming in on the flat side of a mouse, sure, having that 5% more damage per minute sounds great. Look at that. You get an extra 200 DPM in your Leopard 1. But in reality, I'm going to show you all the reasons why running Cali is flat better. And yeah, let's get right into it. So let's actually read what Gun Rammer does versus Cali. Gun Rammer's easy. Gives you 5% more DPM. That's it. Let's move over to calibrated shells. Calibrated gives you 8% more standard pen, it gives you 5% more APCR pen, 13% more high explosive anti-tank, and 8% more high explosive. We can see these effective values put into place on the E50M, giving you 20 more millimeters of standard pen, 40 more millimeters of premium pen, and 4 more millimeters of high explosive. Vehicles with higher alpha guns, for example a E100, will obviously gain more in terms of the high explosive pen. This will get 7 more millimeters of high explosive pen and more on the heat because vehicles like this have more pen to begin with. So let's break into the first reasoning on why calibrated shells is flat better. Let's say you go up against anything that has armor. A lot of times I will hear skilled players say, oh, well, when I'm driving my mediums, I'm flanking, or I'm on the medium flank. Therefore, I'm not shooting at the front of heavies. Okay, but I can tell you for a fact that you are shooting at the front of mediums. You can't argue that. And judging that the E50M is the most used medium currently, you're going to be going up against this tank quite a bit. And a lot of maps you're playing on, like Castilla, Dead Rail, Black Goldville, if you're going to any of the classic medium spots, Port Bay, you're going to be fighting an E50M hull down on the other side of that ramp. And good luck penetrating that E50M if you're running gun rammer, because this is what your premium shells are going to be seeing with any medium. This is 300 millimeters of heat pen against an E50M. Every single medium tank in tier 10 is sitting at this 330 mils of heat or worse, meaning that you have literally no chance of cutting through an E50M turret. This isn't even with enhanced armor. With enhanced, it's even harder to pen, 320 mils. Okay, now let's say you swap to calibrated shells. Boom, ka-chow. Now you have the ability to cut through the E50M turret. It's not even close. Even if you're running enhanced armor, you can still cut through the E50M turret. Even if the vehicle's using full gun depression, it will pen 90% of the time. And if it's not running enhanced, then it's even easier. If you are not running calibrated shells, this is what the E50M is going to look like to you. Personally, I'd rather have the ability to cut through one of the strongest mediums when it's using its gun depression than not. This is the first case we have. Okay, let's move on to the next case that we have. Okay, how about we have the E100 here, right? You're driving a heavy tank, the 60 TP. You're up against an E100. Well, this is what the E100 looks like when you load gold with rammer. Yeah, good luck cutting through that vehicle with your 330 millimeters of heat pen or 320 mils. It's all red unless you hit this tiny bar here. I'm sorry, you're not hitting that bar, not reliably with one of the most inaccurate heavies in the game. Unless you do this and swap to calibrated shells. The entire E100 turret goes from red to a pen. And by the way, this is with enhanced. Even without enhanced, you still cannot pen the E100 turret when running rammer. So there you go. That massive DPM advantage really, it's helping you out, right? Definitely, because E100s are an uncommon heavy. Oh wait, no, it's the most played heavy in tier 10. Okay, how about a 268 version 4? 268 version 4 is a fairly average vehicle. And oh, let's load gold. And without calibrated, yeah, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Good luck. Good luck penetrating this vehicle without running Cali. But if you are running Cali, then boom, you can cut right through it with 345 mils of pen on the lower plate, on the superstructure. I mean, it's not even close. If you're driving a heavy tank period, there's no argument. Because you can't say, oh, I'm flanking. You're not flanking in your heavies. If you're driving any heavy tank, you're driving it frontally against other heavies. And because of that, you need this pen to cut through enemy vehicles that are heavily armored. VK90 is another great example. See, a lot of people forget that calibrated shells doesn't just give you more premium pen. It also gives you more standard pen. And this is huge, absolutely huge, and instrumental into the games you play. Loading gold in any tier 10 is going to lose you a huge amount of damage. We can see here on the E100, loading gold takes your average damage from 660 to 580. That is an 80 damage drop off, about a 20% damage drop off on loading gold. And it's not just vehicles like the E100. Go over to other nations and you pull out a vehicle like the Object 260. Your gold shells are going from 400 damage to 340. That's a 60 damage drop off. That's huge. You are losing way more effective DPM if you are having to load gold because you don't have enough standard pen to cut through a vehicle you would have with calibrated shells. And I can show two very easy examples of this for mediums and heavies right here. This is a VK90. This is a fairly average heavy to go up against, and this is what that lower plate looks like when you are loading standard shells in your E5 with gun rammer. This is what that same lower plate looks like when you are loading AP with Cali. Do you see the difference here? Cali, not Cali. Yeah, it's quite a big difference. And because of that, once again, calibrated shells wins. And by the way, that's with enhanced on. If it's not on, still, you're going to have a very hard time penning it with rammer, but Cali cuts right through. And it's not just a VK90. This here is a 62A. And we have another 62A aiming at it. So you got 245 mils of AP pen. Guess what? You're not going to cut through that upper plate with most mediums, but if you're running calibrated shells, that upper plate becomes a penetration. It's kind of goofy, and it's not just the 62A. There's many mediums that have quite solid upper plate armor, like the 121B and 121, where also running gun rammer might make that upper plate at certain angles a very tricky pen. Well, with calibrated shells, you're not going to have to load gold, making your life a lot easier. Another great example would be something like a T22 medium. The T22 medium has some of the goofiest armor in tier 10, and again, it's absolutely spammed. If you are running gun rammer, good luck cutting through a T22 at certain angles. This is what a T22 looks like with gun rammer. This is what it looks like with Cali. It's not even close, and this is on flat ground. Personally, I'd rather run gun rammer. Oh wait, no, sorry, calibrated. Any day of the week. If you think that 5% extra damage is really gonna help you out, come on, bro. It's not. It's like, it's a huge difference. Okay, so maybe you're not sold yet. Maybe for some reason your brain is saying, oh man, I like that ooga booga number though. Look, it's green. I got 155 more DPM. Okay, well, here's the final argument, right? Let's play it plain and simple, okay? Gun rammer gives you a 5% damage per minute buff. Let's say that calibrated shells gives you, I don't know, an 8% advantage. Running Cali, you pen 8% more shots that you fire than running gun rammer. I feel like that's a pretty conservative number as well. I could easily say it's upwards of 15%. Just the amount of gold pen alone gives you way more opportunities, let alone the fact that your HE is splashing more and having a better chance of penning. We're not here to argue that. Let's just say for a fairly conservative number that, yeah, running calibrated shells allows you to pen about 8% more shots on average a game. Gives you 8% more opportunities to cut through an enemy, okay? And let's pull out, the highest DPM tank, because the more DPM you have, the bigger that buff is for gun rammer. So let's take the Leopard 1, for example, right? With the Leopard 1, let's say you are penning 80% of your shots with gun rammer. So let's pull out my calculator really quick, okay? So your Leopard 1, you have 3,863 damage per minute, and you're penning 80% of your shots, giving you an effective damage per minute value of 3,090 damage per minute. That's if you're penning 80% of your shots and you're firing every single second when you get your shell for a minute, okay? Now, let's pull out another calculator, and let's say that you're using calibrated shells on your Leopard 1, which is giving you a lot less DPM, effectively 3,670 damage per minute. So let's pull up both calculators here once again. Here we go. So now we have 3,670 damage per minute. And let's say that you're penning 8% more shots, as I said. So we'll do 3,670 multiplied by an 88% pen rate. So we'll go 0.88. Okay. Yep, you can already see the point I'm making. 3,090 effective damage per minute versus 3,229. Yeah. What else do you need me to argue here? There is no argument I need to make, even if you're only getting 5% more pens. So we do the same thing, 3,670 multiplied by 0.85. You are still at more effective DPM with calibrated shells if you are penning 5% more shots a game. What's the argument? There is none. You are guaranteed penning at least 10% more shots a game running calibrated shells. That means 1 out of the 10 shells you will fire would have bounced with rammer, but would have penned with Cali. And I can guarantee that's the case because there are many situations where just that little angle running enhanced armor or going up against a heavily armored vehicle that you just said, oh, I can't pen them, I'll drive around them. Well, you wasted time doing that. Calibrated shells would have given you flat more damage in that moment. There is no argument that can defeat these numbers here because it's just the plain simple math. Not only that, but I should mention that gun rammer only helps you if you are shooting nonstop that entire time, right? You can see the gun rammer gives you 200 more DPM. But if you're not shooting, then you're not getting that extra DPM. Calibrated shells is always giving you a buff. I could not shoot for 10 minutes, and the moment I load gold, I still get an extra 40 mils a pen with Cali. If I don't shoot with gun rammer every single second I get a shell, I've basically lost the point of gun rammer. So usually what I do with my Giga Brain is when I see somebody, let's say in an E100, I'll wait 0.4 seconds longer for my reload, and then I'll poke them. I know it's crazy, right? Just waiting in cover a little bit longer before you poke the enemy. There is really only one world where gun rammer gives you that advantage over calibrated shells, and that is the world where you're getting rushed and you needed that shell 0.2 seconds faster. But you also can't really make that argument because throughout the process of a game, you may have had the opportunity to pen more shells with calibrated, which made that late game scenario better for you to begin with. Not only that, the fact that you might be firing more standard than gold, which is a fact, means that you are dealing more effective damage per minute. There's no arguments whatsoever for gun rammer. And that's really it. Now, at the end of the day, you're free to run whatever you want. I am here to give you advice, and I am here to help you as a player grow. But as a player who is fairly good at the game, I mean, my Leopard 1 alone, I have 3,700 average damage for 40 games in it. As a player who can average 3,700 in a vehicle that I'm always running calibrated shells on, and it's not just vehicles like the Leopard, it's basically any medium you can put me in, and I'm going to do pretty damn good in. Sheridan, it's a light tank, I'm averaging 3446 in it. I'm guaranteed averaging more damage than 99% of the people watching this video running calibrated shells. If I'm able to do this much with Cali, then so are you. And it means that gun rammer is not the reason you're struggling to get out damage. It's just cope. That's really it. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really it. I don't know what else to say. In fact, on the North America server right now for my press account statistics, it is number 2 on average damage in the entire server of NA. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. Even for the skilled players saying, oh, Rammer's the way to go, it's just not. It isn't. The only world I can see Rammer being a viable argument is maybe when you say, oh, my tank has APCR premium. But you're still forgetting the fact that your AP standard is still gaining 8% more pen. I mean, that's huge. So, I don't know what to say. I really don't. Yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.